Have you ever wondered why leads exist as an object in some CRMs, but not in others? Or what the real difference is between leads and contacts? Well, today is your lucky day, because that's what we're going to cover in this video. Let's get into it. Hi, everybody. If you're wondering who I am, my name's Graham Bischoff, sometimes affectionately called Salesforce Yoda. But I've been working in business systems in this ecosystem for over 15 years. I worked in-house running Salesforce and marketing automation platforms for companies you may have heard of, like Yelp and Google. But I also built a successful consulting business as well. And today, what I really want to get into is leads and contacts. More importantly, a question that I've gotten over those 15 years, actually quite a few times, which is, do we need leads at all? Or can we just use contacts? I'm actually surprised at how often I actually get this question. Like, I get it a lot. I literally have gone on rants like an old man. But now that I've given my own rambling speeches of that, I've been able to put a few things together. And today we're gonna cover that in a more succinct way. So we're gonna cover how we got here, why we even need leads, and what does it look like to actually transition from leads to just contacts. Let's break it all down. Okay, let's start from the beginning. The very beginning. The Big Bang. Picturing. It opens it. Let's start with the birth of Salesforce. It's a good starting point. It's where we get this question most often. I mean, you could use like Zoho or Microsoft Dynamics. They both have leads and contacts. But honestly, if you're using Zoho, it's just time to quit. Like, come on, back up your desk. You have failed and you should be ashamed of yourself. And look, Salesforce was just the first to have leads and contacts. That's just how they set up their system when it launched in like March of 2000. You put it in there, you have leads, they convert to contacts and accounts. That's the way it was. And then everyone subsequently that came after that just copied it. They're like, hey, that's how CRMs work because this thing didn't exist before. And now this is what we need to use. And that's how every single system did it. Now, given that most CRMs at this time had leads and contacts, you also had something where the marketing automation platforms, or MAPs as I like to call them. No, don't say that. No one likes that. We don't ever call them that. But they followed suit. And what they did is they copied the same dynamic, which reinforced the lead and contact schema that all the systems were following at that time. And this today has reinforced that as well. So when you see leads and contacts in 2025, it is very much due to the fact that these marketing automation systems followed suit and reinforced that particular dynamic. But Graham, how did they do that? It's a great question. Glad you asked. See, here's a flowchart that we put together that is the basis for what almost all marketing automation platforms use to integrate with CRMs. And their first and foremost rule is we match on email. Like, it's almost a law. I am the law! And yeah, matching solely on email may seem ill-conceived and quite frankly archaic for most marketing automation platforms. But yeah, that's kind of how they do it today. But if you need something, more cathartic, check out our video here about why marketing systems are so terrible. But the logic is pretty basic. The way it works is it looks for a contact, says, hey, does a contact with a matching email exist? Yes, cool, go update that thing. If not, is there a lead with a matching email that exists? Yep, go update that. And if neither of those exist, then we'll create a lead and we'll put all our information on there. But it never, ever creates a contact.
Get off of me! Ugh, as if!
But then HubSpot came into the picture and changed everything. And I'm not just saying this as a fanboy who is well established in worshiping Darmesh, their CTO. Well, okay, maybe that has a little bit to do with it. Don't please, chosen one. Just kidding. But then they decided to do away with leads altogether. Just throw them out. Contacts only, moving forward. And that worked, but it only worked with a few caveats in place where they had to build certain feature sets that didn't really exist in the other CRMs to make that possible. And we'll get into those next. All right, so given all these weird rules and system setups and adding these extra objects for apparently no reason, how did any of this make sense? Well, it's really simple. It comes down to sometimes you just need a filter, right? So if you've ever set up a form on a website before, not everything that comes through is grade A quality. Like, sales gets dealt a lot of junk, and we need to filter that junk out. And leads is a great place for that, right? So marketing, it's always going to be like, oh, it's all rainbows and unicorns and everything. Anyone who ever filled out a form is automatically going to be qualified. And quite frankly, this is just not true, right? So there's a lot of people come in, maybe need nurtured, maybe need to understand the product a little bit better, maybe well-intentioned, but don't fit into the category of having a sales conversation. And so leads is a great place to keep all of those people until you figured out that they qualify to talk to sales. And once you do that, then you can move them over the fence. You can be like, hey, this is great. You're qualified. You're not a waste of salespeople's time, either because it's not our product just isn't a fit for you, or because you're not ready to talk to us, or you don't have money to buy things. Like, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you hop over that fence. And keeping those things distinct and separate is actually quite important. And now you may be getting the same trauma response that I'm about to have, because when we're talking about leads and qualification, we're gonna say a term and it's gonna be triggering. So, warning, MQL, or marketing qualified leads. Don't worry, I'm fine.
Steady as a rock.
Yeah, but I shoot with this hand.
Now, MQLs as a concept are pretty good, and they can help you separate the junk leads to qualified leads. But then we have to get sales to agree to what qualified is, right? And you start to get into a lot of other acronyms. You got SQL, or sales qualified lead, SAL, sales accepted lead, SQO, sales qualified opportunity. So yeah, you got SQL, SAL, SQO. Oh my.
Oh my!
Okay, and finally, another mechanism is lead scoring, or scoring in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be lead specific, it can be contact specific, but it really just helps separate stuff you don't want to pay attention to, or stuff you're nurturing or trying to still qualify, into the stuff that's qualified. And this can be really helpful. But honestly, scoring can get really complicated, like really complicated. Like, for example, when I was both at Yelp and then at another startup I was at called Zenefits, we had hackathons and they were fun, and I got to hang out with the engineering department, and that was great. And in those, we like ran machine learning or AI instances where we put a lot of data in to figure out how we can better score leads, how we can better score opportunities, and really just find out like which set of our customers were the best ones to go after so that our sales team could tackle them. And ultimately, like, we would spend like 2 or 3 days doing this. And the output, we would go tell salespeople, and it was really simple. We'd be like, yeah, like if someone signed up for a free trial or a free product, or, you know, they had a lot of instances where they filled out forms, like, those are the greatest ones. And all the salespeople would turn around and be like, yeah, duh, we kind of already knew that. Thanks for spending 2 days or 48 hours straight, like running all that to prove something that we knew because we're on the phone every day. Okay, so we want to make lead scoring as simple as possible. But remember, it's still important. And we talked about HubSpot earlier, but really, like, they implemented this as their key component feature when they just went to contacts. And that was super, super helpful. And one of the main things that they needed just to simply transition to a singular object when it came to leads and contacts, so that you could qualify within that contact object. They did some other stuff, like, you know, they have life cycles on top of some of their stages, so that you could do MQLs and SQLs and all those QL things that I mentioned before. And lastly, you know, what they also did was they did marketing and non-marketing contacts. And this was actually quite brilliant on their part, because what they did was they said, hey, look, we can keep as much data as you want, but you got to tell us what is the thing that marketing actually cares about and wants to go after. And that also helped qualify and put in different buckets those different sets of contacts. And that was super important. And all of this leads into our segment that's coming up next, which is our So What segment. And just so you know, this is all about explaining things at a managerial or executive level. This is going to summarize why leads and contacts are important for executives so that they can understand the concepts at a broad term, but also why it matters to the business. And so if you don't show them anything else, because they're probably not going to watch the whole 10+ minute video, we really want to make sure that they check this section out specifically. So we'll put a timestamp down in the description, but up next is just a really good overall explanation of why this matters so much. So we're trying to answer the big question of, if we live in a system that has leads and contacts, can we just forget about leads and go to contacts? And the short answer is like, yeah, you can. And we've done that many times. It just comes with a long list of caveats. And I'll review some of them here, but if you want the whole list, you'll probably want to review the rest of the video. But in short, you just need filtering mechanisms, right? So whether that's lead scoring, qualification criteria, or some other way to say like, hey, these are the things that sales talks to, and these are the things that sales doesn't talk to. And that can come in a lot of different forms, but that takes work. And on top of that, you'll be fighting a system that's made to do this, right? And it's not just your CRM. You'll be fighting your marketing automation system and the integration that they built between those two. And that really comes to the question of like, is it worth it? For some people, for some marketing departments, for some companies, it is worth it. And they really, really like the fact that they have one object to concentrate on. They're gonna, lead score and qualify, all of that stuff anyway. And they're fine with all the extra little work and fine tuning it takes because they have a smart, capable team of tackling all that stuff. But for most companies, it actually doesn't make sense. It's no more useful to use one object than it is two, especially when you're fighting against a system that is designed for two. There's all these little caveats, there's all these little exceptions, and you need a team that's capable of understanding all those things, understanding them not only in your CRM, but also in your marketing automation platform as well. So it can really be a complex transition. It should not be done lightly. And that's not to even mention how long these things take. So to move over, it can take several months. Like our average project to do that is 3 months long because we have to go through all the requirements. We have to understand all the logic that we have to redo from one object to the other. We have to understand that transition, all those filtering mechanisms, put them in place, test them, make sure they're not broken. Not to mention, like, it takes so much time to do the data migration. It is tremendous. I think a lot of people would be shocked at it. So ultimately, if you believe that this is the right way to run your business and your business is going to grow because of this, then by all means, like, take the hit, take the time and put that in. But if it's not worth hiring an outside consultant agency for 3 months, it's not worth clearing your team's table for at least that amount of time to really figure out how to do this, then it's not worth it. Like, it is just really, really hard to get right. And most companies don't even get it right, even when they know what they're doing. So my advice is like, stick with leads, make them useful, understand that they're qualifiers and that they move over to contacts. But if you're dead set on doing it and you think it's worth it, by all means, convert over. Just know it's a slog and you have a hard road ahead of you. But we're also here to help, give you more context. Hopefully, if you put some comments down, we'll be happy to respond and give you some more advice, maybe create some more videos. And with that said, thank you everyone for watching today. I hope you all enjoyed it. This really is a question I get a lot. I didn't just make that up. And I know that because a lot of our customers and other people have asked us about it. And if you have other questions that you want to do, please like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things, but also just like put comments in here. We really do pay attention to them, even though they can be sparse sometimes. But we want to make content and videos that you guys really like and really want, that you think are useful to you. Hopefully this was one of them. And if you thought so, feel free to comment below. Maybe there's a topic you wanted to dive deeper into that we didn't go into today or anything else. So please like, subscribe, and let us know what you like. And until next time, good luck.